this situation happens, Tupac dies, and then Suge ends up going to court because previously before that, Suge was on probation for making those two producers strip. Were you around during that time?
I wasn't around yet.
Yeah, this was during the
Stanley brothers.
Yeah, the Stanley brothers. And I interviewed the president of Solar Records.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Virgil Roberts.
Virgil Roberts. He detailed that whole incident where
that night Suge comes into the building, goes up to the third floor, and one of the Stanley brothers was on the phone. That he asked the guy to get off the phone, and he said, and I think the Stanley brothers had been part of the World Class Wrecking Crew, and they were actually there to try and get Dre, who by then is becoming known as a hit producer, to do something for them. And so he tells Suge, he didn't know who Suge really was. He said, "Hey, look, I'm one of Dre's guests. Go talk to him." And Suge said, "I don't talk to him. I run this." He said, "Man, go, leave me alone." So Suge apparently goes out, goes back downstairs to his car, gets a gun, comes back, puts the gun to his head, and says, "Motherfucker, I told you to get off the phone." So then he hangs up the phone. Suge brings him into the studio and has everybody, people from the rehearsal. He said, "I want you all to come in here." And he said, "This is what's going to happen if you use that phone." Tells the guy, take off his clothes. And he says, "I'm not taking off my clothes." So then he shoots the gun he has by the guy's ear. Then he has a guy undress, and he says, "Could fuck you up, but I'm not going to do that. But I know where you live. I got your driver's license. I know where your mama lives. And this is just a lesson for all of you all. If you use that phone, I'm going to fuck you up."
It was mainly he was being dissed. No one knew who Suge was. That's when Suge was standing in the background.
Yeah.
They didn't believe it was Suge. They were like, "Who are you?" That's what Suge always told me. It was like, the Stanley brothers like, "This is Dre shit." You can't tell us to get off the phone. He always blamed Dick Griffey. I remember we used to be at the prison talking, and he's like, "Dick Griffey, you the reason I caught that case. You the reason I'm in here." Because he was on me about the phone. You remember phones was high then.
Yeah.
And so Suge went to the Stanley brothers and was told them, "Hey, get off the phone, get off the phone."
Yeah.
And they ignored him, and he was on. He just walked back to his office. He said he was in a suit. It just came from court, from something else.
Yeah.
And went. He got his gun. But he saw him looking on at the camera, and they still on the phone. So that's when he go get his gun.
His gun made him strip.
Well,
no.
Yeah, that was. Well, yeah, he made him strip down out of embarrassing him. He wasn't really trying to. He was just really trying to embarrass him. That's just how shit was. Like I tell you, the comedian part come out.
Right. They go outside, go straight to the police, and then he's on probation.
Correct.
So when he kicks Baby Lane, he ends up violating his probation.
Correct.
And Baby Lane actually testified on his behalf. Orlando ended up testifying on Suge's behalf during Suge's trial?
That's right. He perjured himself in order to assist Suge Knight get out from under his probation violation.
Okay. And why do you think Orlando Anderson testified on Suge's behalf after Suge is on video jumping him?
He did it for one simple reason. He was getting paid to do it.
Yes.
Everyone assumed that Suge paid him off.
That was done between attorneys. I was there. How it happened was Edie Fall. Y'all know Edie Fall from one of the guys that represented on the Rodney King, the one with the beat up Reginald Denny. He was a popular attorney from that. Well, anyway, Edie Fall and David Kenner, we all met at the studio at Edie Fall's office, and they came up with where they were about to sue, or they were in the process of suing Tupac, and they came up to an agreement. Well, hey, if you come and testify, because we're trying to save Suge from going to jail to do that, 9-year violation, and testify that Suge was trying to really help you. He was trying to get them off you. He wasn't one that assaulted you. He was really trying to stop everybody from assaulting you. If you'll come and testify to that, we'll give you we'll settle this case with you for, I think it was $60,000, where you was going to sue Tupac, which was a great deal in our mind, because we all know what Tupac was worth, especially after the All Eyes on Me and the Machiavelli album had dropped.
Yeah.
He was worth a lot of money. We'll settle the case for you for $6,000.
Okay, so
that's how that deal
They
went.
kind of bunched a bunch of these deals,
Yeah.
these lawsuits together, and here's 60,000.
You come in.
You get on the stand.
And say, tell, in our mind at the time, was the truth.
Yeah.
You say different. You say you saw a kick. But, we were trying to
Right.
not see a kick.
But it didn't matter because Suge
Ultimately
was
got-
found guilty anyways.
Correct. And he was found violated for his probation.
Exactly. And he went back to jail.
Correct. He did 5.5 years.
Now, he goes back to jail, and you become the general manager of Death Row?
Yes. Not eventually. It happened. He was sentenced March of, actually February 29th, which some people would say crazy, but it was a leap year, I guess. February 29th of 1997. His brother-in-law, Norris Anderson, was the general manager at that time. I eventually took his position in about July of 97.
Okay. There's a story about an off-duty cop confiscating a gun that they say was used to kill Tupac, and I guess Hussein Fatal had it, or you know what I'm talking about? There's this weird story
Yeah.
about a gun.
Yeah. What happened on that is Hussein Fatal was caught with a gun going inside the House of Blues. On July the 4th, we did a big concert at the House of Blues in L.A. Hussein Fatal was tried to bring a gun in. They search him, find the gun. They turned it over to, I think he was off-duty Santa Monica police officer or something like that. He takes the gun, and I guess he didn't book it into evidence or whatever, because they didn't make an arrest or anything. We just told, Hussein couldn't come inside the House of Blues. That's when Noble comes in, who's now, for some reason, the official talker for the Outlaws. But that's when he did Fato's parts that particular day. Pac and him got, Pac was a little upset with him for trying to have a gun on him. He supposed to wreck the car. He took a car without permission. So Hussein Fatal had a bad week. So he eventually gets sent back home in July. And so the gun was taken off of him. And somehow Kevin Hackey, who we later found was working with the feds or something like that, somehow he eventually get the gun. He turns the gun and gives the guns back to me. I don't know what I end up doing with the gun. I think I gave it to Ron Bilal when we was in the Bahamas, and he told me he threw it in the ocean. So the gun's floating somewhere in the ocean in the Bahamas.
Okay.
Trust me, they have ballistics on that particular gun. They test that gun, and some people say, well, Pac was killed with a 40 Glock. This was the 40 Glock that he was killed with.
But this happened before Pac even got killed.
When the gun was taken.
The gun was taken, yeah, so it had nothing to do with
it.
it.
Has nothing. That's the history on the gun.
You gotta love the internet with their
Oh, yeah,
conspiracy theories.
Yeah.